Join UF Hall of Famer and 14-year NFL vet Shane Matthews every weekday as he brings you all you need to know about your Florida Gators, including news, analysis, and opinions with some of the biggest names in sports. Find us on Spotify, Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, or wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts, or watch us live at 8 a.m. on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter.
Good morning and welcome to a live edition of PodUp with Matthews in the Morning, coming to you live from the International Diamond Center Studios. You can go check out the great jewelry and watches and much more there. You go check it out. Just browse around. They'll give you a free gift card to Spurrier's Gridiron Grill. Also, you can watch and listen to this program on about 40-something digital platforms like Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio, and many, many more. Today is Tuesday. That means we'll have Buddy Martin from the Buddy Martin Show. We'll also have Mike Morgan from the SEC Network. He'll be calling the Gators and Missouri Tigers tonight from the O'Connell Center if you missed it last night. The NFL playoffs are set for round 2. The Vikings go down to the LA Rams. The Rams dominated that game. Let's go straight to the Titanamore hotline, courtesy of Comfort Temp. It's the one, the only Buddy Martin from the Buddy Martin Show. How you doing, buddy?
Good morning, Shane. I'm doing great. I'm looking out my window at the bay here in beautiful Bay County, Florida. It's the Sanders Bay right there. So looking for some warmer weather. It's 41 here right now, and it's been lower than that most days. I'm sure it's where you are. It's equally as cold. I'm ready to get on past this cold weather. I want to go to the ballpark and get the crack of a baseball bat, you know?
No doubt about it. Before we jump into basketball and other sports, I want to get your thoughts on this, Buddy Martin. Listen to these numbers I throw at you.
All right.
20 points, 14 points, 24 points, 12 points, and 3 points, and 18 points. Were any of those close except the 3-point one, buddy?
I don't know what you're talking about. You talking about basketball scores? You talking about?
No, I gave y'all stats the last couple of weeks for all these people that bitch and complain about the college football playoffs being blowouts.
Oh, okay. I thought you Walter Clayton.
It's blowouts. It's blowout city in the NFL in playoffs.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay. There's one close game, 3 points. Everything else was like an average of like 18 to 19 point win.
Yeah.
So I don't know why these people think the college games have to be closer than NFL games. So there you have it. I just had to throw that out there. Because,
what in the world happened last night to one of the hottest teams in the NFL, the Vikings? Man,
they got their ass destroyed by the previous week by the Lions. So my question is, maybe the committee shouldn't have selected the Vikings, the Packers, the Broncos, the Steelers, or the Chargers, because they all got their ass blown out.
Yeah, I don't know about this committee thing. This committee thing started to drive me a little batty. I don't know. But anyway.
I'm being sarcastic because there is no committee in the NFL, but
I know.
I'm just trying to make a point.
Everybody's bringing up this committee thing. We all know there's no committee. But I think what it is a direct stab at college football for their picks. And by the way, as much as we'd like to say it didn't turn out right, turned out pretty right, even though there's no SEC team. You know, you got to understand. In my lifetime, I've seen dynasties come and go, and some long ones. The New York Yankees were their own way. Everybody hated the Yankees because they won all the time. And you got Alabama, and you got Georgia and the SEC, and people who are not in the SEC country, they're sick of hearing about it. They're glad the SEC is not. But does that mean the SEC has gotten worse? No, it means the game has gotten a little even. The talent's gotten more even. You can't stockpile. So yeah, I mean, those are all things of consideration. But I get it, and you're right. There are a lot of people get stomped and come back, and a lot of times coaches are saying now these getting stomped helped them. I've heard Nick Saban say it just a couple of days ago when he won a national championship. Getting his ass beat was the best thing that happened to him. They got beat. You know that Steve Spurrier before he won his first natty, got crushed by Nebraska in a Fiesta Bowl. And so sometimes a good ass whipping will help your team.
Yeah, well, I just don't know why people think because it's the playoffs or whether it's college or NFL, why they think the game has to be close. That's where I'm going with it, because majority of the time they're not going to be close ball games. Buddy, I got a million texts and I got a million comments here on YouTube and Facebook and what have you. This text here says, ask Buddy about that non-elite softball team that's ranked number 1 to start the season. So, Buddy, go ahead and get it out there. People are piling on Buddy Martin today about the non-elite softball team.
All right, come on here. Let's bring it. I want you to get it all out because I'm okay with it. I said it and I will say it again. When a team loses 3 in a row, their elite status must be questioned. But I'll tell you what I'm going to do about that. This morning at 4 o'clock, I woke up, I thought, well, who gets to decide who's elite and who's not? Obviously, I don't. So from now on, I'm going to have everybody be a member of Shane Matthews' All Elite Club. You decide who's in, who's not, and I'll go by yours, like you do with rankings and what have you. So from now on, I'm not going to call anybody elite or not elite unless you tell me it's elite, okay? And I'll give you a couple examples. Go ahead.
Okay. No, I'm going ahead. I'm listening.
I just want you to. I want to know what are your standards for being elite, so I can be right next time.
My standards are just consistency of a winning program. That's why ever since Tim Walton taken over, that team has been elite. Ever since Sully has taken over, that program is elite. I don't give a damn if they make it to the College World Series or not. They are still elite because you don't make it there every year. Now, both these two programs usually do, but just because you lose a few or you have a bad season does not mean you're elite, in my opinion. The baseball, softball, the track programs, and the gymnastic programs at the University of Florida have been elite for a long time.
How long does that last, and when you can become non-elite? I'm going to leave that to you to decide because...
Well, you become non-elite when we quit talking about them being good. But we have never talked about those programs right there not being any good.
Okay. All right. I'll go with you. It's going to be Shane's All Elite Club from now on. And whenever he decides they're in, like when I get to matters with quarterbacks, I defer to you. You know more about it than I do. By the way, let me ask you about these teams right here. Right now, if you say, which of the following teams are elite and not? Okay. You said softball, men's basketball, baseball, you said, gymnastics, lacrosse, men's swimming and diving, and women's swimming and diving. Which one of those are elite?
I would put all of those as elite programs, except I can't throw basketball in right now. We had an elite program for a long time, but we've been down. I think Todd Golden's got them back in that discussion, and they're having a heck of a year and have a chance to have a tremendous year. But when I look at the overall 25 years, I don't know if I can put that as an elite program right now in my definition.
So is there a time limit on it, or do you have
No, there's no time limit on it, but we went for many years with basketball not being relevant. We went for many years with football not being relevant. We have not, in my lifetime, I can't remember Florida baseball and Florida softball not being relevant, or gymnastics or track and swimming. So those right there to me are elite. I think Mary Wise's volleyball program is elite. Even though they haven't won a national title, they're in the hunt every year. That's elite to me.
All right. Well, there are now 7 teams ranked in the top 10 nationally at Florida. Okay. I just named them. Softball, men's basketball, baseball, gymnastics, lacrosse, men's swimming and diving, women's swimming. And I would say that if they had track, they would be there too. I don't see this is according to what I read on the internet. But I'm deferring to you on the elite people. Elite status now.
Well, you don't have to defer to me. It's all opinion. It's opinions, buddy. Just like we all have opinions on.
No, but I want to use the same parameters. If a team loses 3 or 4 games, 5 games, 10 games.
Oh, that doesn't matter. That doesn't matter.
Okay. All right.
Not in those sports. Not in those sports. You lose 3 or 4 in a row in football, you got problems.
So if I played baseball in Florida and had won a game, would that be part of the elite program?
You did what now?
If I played baseball in Florida and it was a pitch to game and was the winning pitcher, would I be part of the elite program?
Yeah, absolutely, buddy. You're part of it.
Well, then I got it because I
You're
won
part
one game as a pitcher at Florida. Okay, so there
Yeah,
you go. I'm
yeah,
elite. I'm the elite. All right.
yep.
I'm just kidding.
All right, so let's move on from that.
Okay. No, I
People
just want
piling
to get
on.
it straight. I want to get it straight.
Yeah. So if people missed it, we discussed this yesterday on my program. The quarterback that had committed and signed with the Gators to back up DJ Lagway. Well, he was supposed to back up DJ Lagway. For some reason, this kid thought he was going to compete for the starting job. That played at Charlotte, and he wasn't the full-time starter at Charlotte. I think people need to realize that. He has been released from his paperwork, all that stuff. He's back in the portal. Good luck to him wherever he goes. I don't care.
I found out the problem. He thought he was Brock Purdy. Get it? He ain't Brock Purdy.
No, he's not Brock Purdy.
No big deal. No big loss, and let's move on to front. But important to get. I'm telling you this. You got to have a really good backup quarterback, and you were one for a long time, and you did quite well. I made a good living at it, and you know what a good candidate looks like. Right now, do you see any good backups on that roster?
I don't really worry about the backup quarterback. I think the backup quarterback will be the kid that is in this signing class, another highly recruited true freshman. Listen, our backup last year was a true freshman. He was pretty good. So I don't worry about it. I think too many people worry about the backups. Obviously, you want to have depth, but I'm going to roll with the starters. And we'll let Billy figure out who the backup's going to be. But as of right now, it's going to be the kid from I guess he played at Mandarin out of Jacksonville.
Jones?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. I defer to you on all things quarterback and all things elite.
Well, I mean, well, there you go. Buddy, everybody has their opinion on quarterbacks. I have mine. You have yours. The listeners have theirs. That's what makes sports talk radio and podcasting.
Shane, I'm not going to take the opinion of a listener over the opinion of the guy who played in the NFL 14 years and had 2 MVPs in the SEC.
But buddy, my opinion is totally different than NFL general managers, NFL owners, these people that study quarterbacks. I mean, I go by what I see, but I appreciate that, buddy.
You know what they say? Opinions are like noses. Everybody's got one. So there you go.
Yeah, Chris from Mayak on the Titan MR text line says, Shane, how do you think Carson Beck will do in Miami? I don't know. I mean, he's a decent player. He's not worth $500,000, much less $4 million. It's ridiculous.
I agree.
I think he realized he got bad news from the NFL, and he's going to make more than majority of the kids that have played in the NFL 3 or 4 years. He'll make more in 1 year. So good luck to him. Gators will see him. I think it's week 3. Christopher on YouTube, brought to you by Quality Plum, says, sad story about Kyron Lacey at LSU. Yeah, I don't know a whole lot about it. I think did he kill somebody in a car wreck or something like that? I think it's
something in a
terrible.
wreck. I don't know the details of the case.
Yeah, it's and Barone 71 says the NCAA needs to get tougher on instant eligibility to thwart the chaos that the portal has created. I got a simple solution. Okay.
All right.
You have a free one-time transfer.
Mm-hmm.
If you transfer more than once, you sit out a year like you did back in the day. Mm-hmm. And when you sign NIL contracts, you are signing contracts for multiple years like you do in the National Football League. It is just total BS that a player can play at, I mean, I said this on your show last night, buddy. There's nobody in the National Football League that is playing for the Rams right now that when the season ends, oh, I think I'll go play for the Dolphins. It doesn't work that way. They have their rights. And so anyway,
that's true.
They got to do something.
I agree with you. It's a very good point. I just want to say one thing. It's just an opinion, and we don't get to say because the lawyers are going to decide it all anyway. That's how we got here, lawyers.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's total nonsense what's going on. It's crazy. Bruce Ogre State Farm offers a team of dedicated insurance professionals ready to help life go right with the right insurance options for you and your family. Visitogreinsurance.com. Give them a call at 352-240-1779. Got Buddy Martin from the Buddy Martin Show right now. We'll have Mike Morgan, who will be calling the Gators and the Missouri Tigers tonight on the SEC Network. Or maybe it's on ESPN. I'm not sure what. Somebody wanted to know, Buddy, what your favorite moment from Gator football was this year.
This year, I think when Lagway came on the field and started throwing passes and made me a prophet. Because I'm going to say one thing. I may not know elite, okay, all the time, but I saw
you just asked me about elite.
Wait a minute. Hold it. I'm saying I may not know elite, but I called that shot on him a long time ago. And when people say, well, he hadn't played, I said, trust me, he's going to be not good. He's going to be a great one. I called him before he played. So if you're going to rip on me for being elite, give me credit for recognizing talent when I see it. Although Stevie Wonder could have probably seen DJ Lagway. But let's not forget Jaden Ball.
Yeah.
Okay, Jaden Ball was my guy, too, that I said was going to be a real bona fide star. He's on his way to becoming that.
Yeah, Coach says here on Facebook Live, brought to you by Mel Law, you don't literally know who's going to be on your team from semester to semester. Something's got to give.
Day to day.
I don't. It is getting. It's just stupid. I mean, I don't know how else to phrase it. It is just totally stupid.
Right. But it's still a great
Andy
game.
has a question.
It's a great game, and everybody listens. A lot of good games.
We love football. We love sports.
We do.
We're going to watch sports. I mean, we love the Mighty Gators basketball team under Todd Golden right now. There is only, I think, 3 players that play that signed out of high school. Denzel, Hauk, and Condon. Everybody else is from the transfer portal, right? Crazy.
Yeah.
Andy's question for you, buddy, on Facebook Live, brought to you by Mel Law. What's the more famous in Ohio State football history? Jack Sawyer's fumble return or Woody Hayes punching Charlie Bauman?
Well, I still think it's but there's a different reason. I was there that night. He punched Charlie Bauman in the Gator Bowl. I saw it live, and it was an ignominious moment and an ending of a career of a great coach. Because say what you want to about Woody Hayes and his tempestuous behavior and whatever, he was a great football coach, and he built that program, boy, and I love his passion. But I would say, from the positive standpoint, the most famous play on the field was certainly Jack Sawyer, 83 yards returning that pass from him, and that fumble by his whole roommate was a very famous moment. But for terms of publicity and what have you, certainly Woody Hayes' punch of Bauman, and good on you for knowing his name, was one that will be long remembered.
Well, I didn't know his name. Andy did.
I know.
Remember.
That's a great trivia question. Everybody knows that's a great trivia question.
Yeah, it is. Tony's jumping on you here on Facebook Live as well, buddy.
Oh, Tony, come on, bring it, Tony.
He said everyone thought Lagway would be great.
Say again. What?
He said everyone thought Lagway would be great. I mean, he was the number 1 player in America, buddy. You didn't go out.
Did you not hear my comment, Tony? I said probably everybody, including Stevie Wonder, could have seen it coming. Okay, I get you on that. I thought he'd be great, but where were you? I didn't hear all you guys talking about it before you played. I didn't hear anybody saying he's going to win a great quarter. I didn't hear it. So don't come to me with that crap about you knew. You didn't know or you didn't say. Just put it out there like it is. If you're going to get on me about saying it lead, not elite, you own your stuff, okay?
Mark asks or quotes here on YouTube, brought to you by Quality Plumbing. Jerry Jones is talking to Dion. Do y'all think he hires him as the head coach?
Yeah, that's really interesting. I read Dion's comments last night. Dion said his comments were, I love Jerry. I believe in Jerry. After you hang up and process it and think about it, it's intriguing. But I love Boulder, and everything there is about our team, the coaches, our student body, and the community. Well, no, it's not true, Dion. It's a lot about you. But congratulations on a great job in Boulder, a program that I know quite well. R.I.P. to Bill McCartney, by the way, who I covered there, who brought them their first national championship in many a year, and covered at CU. So football's back in Boulder. Dion's brought it back. It's different, but it's good to see. And, hey, who wouldn't want to say, we got the coach that Cowboys want? certainly right now in Boulder, they're really happy.
You really think Jerry Jones would hire Dion?
You never know. You never know because you don't know what Jerry Jones is going to do. He puts it out there all the time. It's like a guy who's dating a hot chick. He wants it known, that he's got dating a hot chick. He wants people to know that he's got Dion on speed dial, just in case. But I don't know. I think he's made some poor choices as coaches based on what I've seen with these young guys coming in the league. What do you think? Who do you think will be a great hire for the Cowboys?
I don't know if I'd want to be the coach of the Cowboys, quite honestly,
No, that's not
because
the
of all the
question. That's not
nonsense.
the question. That's who would be
Right,
a
but
great-
I'm saying, what is he? He's really only hired one good coach, who Jimmy Johnson, at all the years that he's been the owner. I think Ben Johnson from Detroit's going to be a phenomenal head coach.
Yeah. Both coordinators in
I would
Detroit are gone. Both coordinators.
probably both of them. So I mean, Aaron Glenn may have a chance with the Cowboys. I really don't know. I think Sean McVay. I think basically last night, Sean McVay and Matt Stafford, the Eagles better look out, because McVay's a tremendous schemer, play caller, and Stafford is a Hall of Famer.
Yeah, they're back.
He's a Hall of Famer, man. And they are. I will take right now the combination of Sean McVay, Matt Stafford over Kellen Moore calling plays for Jalen Hurts. Even though the Eagles have the better roster, I think the Rams are going to go in there and win. I didn't answer your question, buddy. I started rambling, but I don't know who the Cowboys should hire.
Give me how about the Bucs offensive coordinator?
Liam Cohen. Yeah. He's a good play caller. He's a good play caller for sure. He was at Kentucky for 2 years, buddy.
Yeah.
They weren't very good there then, but Baker's very comfortable in that system because they were together with the Rams under Sean McVay.
Yeah.
So we'll see. Before we let you go, buddy, because time flies, and we're going to get to Mike Morgan here in a minute. The Gators play Missouri tonight, 9:00, so it's a late game. You going to stay up and watch it, buddy, or are you going to be on the air?
Oh, no, I'm a late stayer upper. I'm David Letterman, remember? You're Johnny Carson.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll definitely watch it for sure. And it's a game they ought to win. I look at the schedule again. We talked about it on my show last night. They got some winnable games here. Obviously they got Missouri, Texas, South Carolina, and Georgia. How about Mike White? I mean, love to hate him, but his team is really playing well. Beat Kentucky, so we'll see what happens there. If I can,
he's got a couple of lottery. He's got a couple of lottery picks on that team.
Yeah, I just
he's got two really good players.
I'd like to mention a couple of people, if I can, before you get off. That people that have passed on. Remember Larry Guest?
Mm-hmm.
Larry Guest, Orlando Sentinel columnist, that covered the Gators, and he and Coach Spurrier had a big blow up and never made up. He passed away this past week.
Oh, really?
And told me that he had passed away, and RIP to him. And then I'm wearing my quarterback club shirt tonight in honor of Ron McMillan. He was a good friend of Mike McGinnis's. He was an assistant coach in basketball at College of Central Florida at one point, and he was a great member of the quarterback club. He passed on. I think his services are today. And finally, the late governor, Buddy McKay from Ocala, passed away. His services are Wednesday. So a lot of good people I've known are gone, and I just wish their families all the best, condolences, and RIP to all those people.
Yeah, for sure.
Hey, Shane, I can't let you go without asking this question. What's all the trouble in LIV right now? Have you heard the latest?
I have not.
They could lose their three biggest stars at the end of this year. There's a story about today. Brooks Koepka, Sergio Garcia, and Bryson DeChambeau have expiring contracts. The question is, how many of them will go back? And LIV fans are worried because they're not liking this. And the Saudis are going to reduce the purses by 12%. So trouble in paradise, Shane.
Yeah, I can see DeChambeau and Koepka because they're competitors, man. They want to compete. in like real golf tournaments, not that charity style nonsense that the Live has going on. And then they got this TGL thing, buddy. Have you seen the indoor thing?
What is that, Shane? Explain that to me.
I don't know. I watched it for 5 minutes. It's a thing that Tiger and Rory started.
Is that the nighttime golf? What is? I don't even know what that is.
No, it's indoors. Indoors against a simulator.
I'm sorry. Indoor simulator.
Yeah,
of course.
It's on ESPN every Tuesday night.
Well, I can't wait not to watch.
The technology is phenomenal, but I think it's stupid. It may be one of the dumbest things I've ever seen, in my opinion. Again, that's my opinion. Some people may love it, but I think
you get paid to give opinion, Shane.
Yep. All right, Barone71 on YouTube, brought to you by Quality Plumbing, says, do you think the Rams would be a good place for Kyle Trask to sign with and be groomed behind Stafford? Yeah, I mean, look, I said this when Kyle went to the National Football League. He will be a backup for a long time. Kyle's in probably year 4, I guess. His contract's probably coming up. He'll be a free agent. We'll see if anybody gives him an opportunity to compete. I do not think it will happen. I think he will be a backup, like I said, for 8 or 9, 10 years.
Nothing wrong with that. The man that did it for how many teams? 6?
Yeah, well, the money the backups make now is like what starters were making when I played.
Well, that's true of everything. Crazy. You did it well, and you got paid for it. By the way, did you see who Dan Mullen's got now in UNLV? Former Gators. You got Chef Borders, Elkins, and 2 or 3 Gators down with Dan Mullen up in Las Vegas. So good luck to all of them there in Vegas.
Yeah, Chief Borders never panned out here. I think he's been around.
I like him. I thought he was a great kid.
Yeah, but I don't think he ever played it down for us.
I don't think he did either. No, I don't think so.
All right, real quick before we get out of here and get to Mike, This Day in Sports brought to you by Campus USA Credit Union. Put some star power work in your financial life. Campus USA Credit Union. 2023, Brock Purdy wins his first playoff game as a rookie quarterback against the Seattle Seahawks. That's This Day in Sports brought to you by Campus USA Credit Union. Buddy, what you got on the show tonight, or y'all not having a show?
Well, Lauren Meadows is going to be hosting. We're doing the show tonight, and we'll be watching the basketball game as well. And he'll be on with Rob Brown and the crew. Tune him in. He'll be there and on after the game, and get your comments. Appreciate it.
All right. Have a good day, buddy, and we'll talk to you next week. That's Buddy Martin.
Every week I'm going to ask you for a member of the All Elite Club. I'm going to start putting them in your club.
Well, I've given you the programs that are elite at University of Florida.
I want individuals, too. I want individuals. Too.
Oh, okay. Individuals. Well, you got to prove a lot to be elite.
Well, that's your rule. It's your club. So there you go.
Yeah.
See you, Shane.
All right, buddy. Have a good day.
Thank you.
We're going to take a quick timeout. We come back. We'll be joined by Mike Morgan from ESPN and the SEC Network. We'll talk a little Gator hoops. He'll be on the call tonight. You're watching and listening to PodUp with Matthews in the morning from the International Diamond Center Studios. We'll be right back.
Our premium sponsors are Campus USA Credit Union,
International Diamond Center,
Meldon Law, QC Kinetics, Dave & Buster's, UF Health Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute, JF Hayden Craft Liqueurs, Bishop's Pitmaster Barbecue, Florida Cracker Kitchen, Los Linderos Tequila. Gridiron sponsors are Baker Sporting Goods, Cogent Bank, Comfort Temp, Electronics World, Florida Victorious, Gallo Car Wash, Miapa Latin Cafe, Peachland Dental, Quality Plumbing, Ruse Ogre State Farm, Silverback Concrete, 84 Lumber, Big Mills Cheesesteak, Celebrate Primary Care, Dowling Sign, Gator Bait Media, Gator Dominoes, Ironwood Golf Course, Okido America, Tropical Smoothie Cafe, UF Bookstores, Nest and Wow, MG&A Wealth Management. Watch and listen to us live on Facebook and YouTube. Listen to the podcast whenever on Apple or Google Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to your favorite podcast. Remember to like, follow, and subscribe so you don't miss an episode. To become a sponsor, call my man Freddie at 352-284-3733.
Hi there, this is Coach Steve Spurrier, and I want to let you know that by popular demand, Spurrier's Gridiron Grill's delicious brunch is now served in a premium buffet. You have spoken, we have listened, and we're now serving Gainesville's only elevated buffet, complete with an omelet station, ginger sage chicken sausage, shredded short rib, and of course our chicken and waffles. Plus, you can enjoy bottomless mimosas and Bloody Marys. So join us every Saturday and Sunday from 11 to 3 for the best brunch in town.
I'm tired of you living in pain, and I want you to get real lasting relief from chronic pain in your knees, back, shoulders, and hips. QC Kinetics can get you moving again with cutting-edge regenerative treatments with no drugs, no downtime, and no surgery. Stop putting it off. Call now and schedule your free consultation. Call QC Kinetics now in Gainesville, Ocala, and the Villages. 352-400-4550. 352-400-4550.
Welcome back to the International Diamond Center Studios. Fine jewelry, watches, and much more. Family owned and operated with the largest selection of diamond jewelry. Remember, folks, you just go in there and look for something for Valentine's Day. You ain't even got to buy it. Just browsing around, they'll hook you up with some Spurrier gift cards. Also, when Urban Meyer wanted to introduce his high-quality tequila to the Gator Nation, he made sure to get it to the HBC and his team at Spurrier's Gridiron Grill and Dorn's Liquors. Go beyond with smooth Los Linderos tequila. Back to the Titan More Hotline, courtesy of Comfort Temp. Mike Morgan from the SEC Network, ESPN. The game will be tonight on ESPNU. He will be on the call against the Missouri Tigers. Good morning, Mike. How you doing, bud?
Well, I'll be better after I have some of that Spurrier tequila late tonight when this game is over with. Shane, I know you'll be joining me for that little late night rendezvous in downtown Gainesville. But I'm doing great, man. How are you?
Doing okay. Obviously, you're going to have an exciting call tonight. I'm sure the O-Dome will be packed. Kids are back in school. The Rowdy Reptiles will be there to welcome the Missouri Tigers. Chris from Mayaca has a quick question here on the Titan More text line. He wants to know, ask Mike if he sees any holes in the Florida basketball team that would cause problems for them making a deep tournament run.
Boy, that's a great question. I got to be honest, and I almost I'm hesitant to say this because if you're a little bit superstitious, you don't want to say stuff like, well, the team really has no holes, but I don't see a hole. I really don't. I mean, like any other team in the postseason, if your shooting goes cold, then you can go cold. You can have a really stacked team, and all of a sudden you can have a bad night. This is not the best shooting team in the SEC by any stretch, but they're still pretty darn solid. Or you could have a game like last year where you score a lot of points, but you don't defend anybody. But I think that issue has been addressed. I think very quietly Elijah Martin was one of the best pickups in the country. And meanwhile, Janelle Davis, his FAU teammate, got all the attention, but Janelle Davis has not played well at all for Arkansas. Elijah Martin gives them some defensive toughness on the perimeter. He can shoot, he can score, he can rebound at 6'2". I mean, he's such a all-around addition to what was already a pretty solid squad. And I think that's the magic of what Todd Golden and this program has done. I don't know if there's a first-round draft pick on this team. It's certainly not a lottery pick on this team. And there's plenty of those in the SEC. But it's just a great compilation of college players that all play well together in a system that works. And that, to me, is as big a skill now as any. If you're going to be a coach in big-time college basketball like the SEC, it's how you build a roster. And most of that is through the portal and what guys fit and what guys don't. And there's a skill to that. Make no mistake about it. There is an absolute – it's not just who's got the most NIL money. It's what players actually fit what you want to do. Find those diamonds in the rough. I mean, Elijah Martin, there weren't 100 programs just dying to get Elijah Martin. But they found him and they got the right guy. Clayton obviously was pretty highly sought after playing for Rick Pitino, but even he was not. A lot of people looked at him and said, well, he's a tweener. Can he play the point? Is he a guy that's going to mesh well in the SEC? But they have found guys that I think are playing a little bit above their weight class. Not to mention, I can't say enough about Alex Condon and the job that he has done. That kid has turned into something really special.
Yeah, I agree with everything you said. We had a bunch of people here on YouTube chiming in. They don't think we have a great point guard. We're turning the ball over too much. They don't like Walter Clayton's body language the last two games. Your thoughts on that? I think people forget yes, you are a broadcaster, but you're a hoop junkie. You understand the game.
Sure.
Does the point guard position for the Gators concern you at all?
Well, if he has another 12 turnovers in the next 3 games, it does. And I think that's where that question or questions are coming from. He has not played his best basketball over the last 3 games. I get it. Is he a traditional point guard? No. He's more of a scoring point guard. But here's the thing. Last year, and I can't say enough about the job Poland did, Poland was more of a true point guard. But honestly, when you talk to Todd Golden, as I have about this, the one thing about Poland was he was more methodical, slow it up, set things up in the half court, be more deliberate. And when you do that, you're typically going to have fewer turnovers. What you're also going to do is you're going to slow down your pace. And what Todd Golden wants to do, and what Todd Golden has done with this team, is they play more up tempo. They're one of the better teams in the league in up tempo. And so, yeah, I understand Walter Clayton is not going to be like, if you were to do your point guard prototype, he is not that guy. But I think overall, I'll take Walter Clayton, and I'll take my chances with him, and I'll overcome the turnover splurge that he's had here. They've won in spite of that. He's still making great plays. It's not like he's turning it over and he's just taking terrible shots and missing terrible shots and not helping this team win games. I think overall he's still a really powerful player in the way of how he affects the game in a positive manner.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's phenomenal. We'll see. I think sometimes the point guard deal is a little overrated if you have a guy who's turning it over a ton, but we'll see. I'm a huge Walter Clayton guy. So let's see. Somebody had a question on here. Gator Josh, did you guys see the video of Ollie meeting Shaq this past weekend? Never seen Shaq look so little. You're talking about our 7'9". There was a video saying it was pretty funny.
I saw it almost like, Shaq's bullying a guy, and then he turns around and he looks up at Olivier like, holy smokes, Olivier's got like 7 or 8 inches on him. Yeah. And I think we've gotten past the point. I know some of your other guests, when I've caught the show, have gotten a little bit restless with the question, how come he's not playing? How come he's not playing? He's not playing because he's not ready. Taller is not always better. Believe me. And now more than ever, the game is not made for 7-foot, what I call plotters. The game is made for big men that can run up and down the floor, like a Condon, that can make plays, that can hit outside shots, that don't have to play with your back to the basket. So I wish the young man well. I hope that he's able to develop. At bare minimum, maybe next year he can be a weapon off the bench and just rim protect. But as of right now, I don't think he's ready for SEC basketball.
I agree 100%. All right, Mike, let's switch gears just for a second. We'll get back to basketball. This question from Mike on Facebook Live, brought to you by Melvin Law. He read an article saying SEC football dominance is over because the Big Ten schools have more money. What are your thoughts?
We talk about this a lot on Quick Plug, JC and Morgan, a year-round college football podcast. Look, if you're an SEC hater, and there's a lot of people that apparently have had some really pent-up bitterness about the 20-year dominance of the SEC. I liken it to like, if you've ever been in a relationship and you think it's going well and you get in an argument and your girlfriend brings up like 20 different things that she's been upset about over a 7-year span, and finally you get it all out there. It's like a therapy session. That's what it is for Big Ten fans and ACC fans. Like all this time, they've been tired about hearing how good the SEC is. So here's their chance to pounce, Shane. Only one team made it to the Final Four. 3 teams made it to the playoff. Alabama loses their bowl game to Michigan. South Carolina, one of the hottest teams in the land, they lose their game to Illinois. So, see, I told you the SEC's overrated. It's not that good. All of that is ridiculous, and I think deep down those people know that. This is a year I didn't think there was a true dominating SEC team, and that played out. Do you want to take your chances next year and bet against the SEC? To those that do, I would say be my guest. I'll take your wager. because the SEC is still going to be the deepest league year in and year out. And at some point, there's going to be a more dominating team than there was this year. For whatever reasons, I don't think Georgia was not as good. They had quarterback issues. Carson Beck, for whatever reason, turned into a pumpkin this year. When you take a look at Alabama, clearly Kalen DeBoer better start making some strides there. And then Nico was a disappointment in Tennessee. I mean, we can go on and on and on. It was just a weird year in the conference, but I still think overall the SEC will be just fine.
Yeah, I agree 100%. All right, next Monday night, the Irish and the Buckeyes. Look, Notre Dame's a great story. I think Marcus Freeman's a hell of a coach. I think he's done a great job. To me, they're terrible on offense, Mike. They're just so pedestrian. I just don't know how they can keep up with the Buckeyes. They're going to need to get some turnovers. How do you see this game playing out?
Well, I'm with you. I mean, Ohio State's been the most talented team in college football since day one. Now, how they lose 2 games, and including one of them to Michigan at home, I can't understand that. That's for Ryan Day to have to explain. The only way Notre Dame wins this game is they're going to have to love. They're going to have to give that kid the ball 25 times, just ground and pound, gash Ohio State, and then Riley Leonard make a few more plays with his legs. I don't see them scoring a ton of points. I'm with you there. And if it does become a shootout, as much as I love Notre Dame's defense, I think that favors Ohio State. I just think they have more weapons, including the best wide receiver in college football, bar none. So I like Ohio State. I think it could be a close game. I think it could be a good game. But I just think Ohio State's a more talented team.
Yeah. I don't know where you stand on this. I've been beating this point to death, and I did it earlier with Buddy. You know, there's these people that have been complaining about the college football playoffs, the blowouts. So I came back with stats of the National Football League. If you look at the first round this past week, 20-point loss, 14-point loss, 24-point loss, 12-point loss, 18-point loss. There was one close game in the National Football League, a 3-point game against Washington and the Bucks. I love it. I think people think because it's the playoffs or a Super Bowl or national title, the game's going to be close. That's hardly ever the case. I think I'm in the minority here, but how do you feel about, the selection of these teams? Because the Broncos shouldn't have been selected. The Packers shouldn't have been in. The Vikings shouldn't have been in. The Steelers or the Chargers. I know right. I'm being, I just don't think that people realize that just because you're in the playoffs and postseason play, that the game is going to be close.
Yeah, Shane, I mean, I swear, sometimes people just want to find something to complain about. I went back and looked at it, and we talked about it on the show. In 20 years of the BCS, there were several blowouts, and many times one did not play two. Let's not lose sight of the fact that if we went with that old crappy system, neither one of these teams would have been in a 2-team or a 4-team playoff. And you would have been told by the committee, no, we picked the best 2 teams. We picked the best 4 teams. Well, really, based on what? Well, based on our great pollsters and based on our 5 computers. Meanwhile, Ohio State and Notre Dame would have been watching this playoff at home. That's the system we had for 30 years, and it was a joke. And before that, we had split champions, which was an even bigger joke. How many more national titles could Steve Spurrier have had if we had a playoff in college football in the 90s? I mean, it's ridiculous. So yeah, we've had blowouts throughout the BCS. Look at the first round of the 14 playoff. Almost every game was a blowout, with the exception of a couple. And then you mentioned the NFL playoffs. We always have blowouts in the postseason. The more games you have, the more potential mismatches and blowouts you have. I will take that any day over meaningless bowl games. This is so much better. And the semifinals were fantastic. So look, if you want to complain about, I don't know what your solution is. I mean, do you want to go back to the BCS? Do you want to not have more games to watch in a college football playoff? I think it's great, and it's only going to get better. The seeding needs to be fixed, and it will be fixed. There's no way Boise State and Arizona State should have been the 3 and the 4. That's an absolute flaw that will be fixed. But outside of that, I have no problem with what we've got going on right now. I'm loving every minute of it.
I agree. The Pouncey twins provide all of Gator Nation with the highest quality
liqueurs made by J.F. Hayden Craft Liqueurs. Find your favorite flavors at Spurrier's Gridiron Grill. A few more minutes with Mike Morgan, who will be on the call tonight. All right, so let's just talk SEC basketball that you've called this year, Mike. I don't know if you've called the Gators. This will be your first game, I think. But who's been the most impressive
had them once before.
team? You did? Okay. Who's been the most impressive team in conference play so far?
Well, let me start. The league has never been this great. I'm not sure if any league has ever been this great. We're looking at the potential of getting a dozen bids, which has never happened in the history of the sport. I think there's a little bit of a line of demarcation between the top five. Well, who's in the top five? Well, I think the top five is, in no particular order, Auburn, Alabama, Tennessee, Kentucky, and yes, Florida. I think Florida right now is playing as good as any team in college basketball. I really do. Because of, to go back to one of your listeners' questions, by the way, I love the questions. You got a really smart audience, and I love the interaction. I don't see a real weakness. You know, everybody's got some flaws, right? I mean, the Gators are going to lose games. They're not going to go undefeated the rest of the way. Nobody is in this conference. And you can look at a game and go, see, I told you, so-and-so is not that good, and we're not that great. But, I mean, they're number one in the country in rebounding. They shoot the ball well. They defend well. They're a matchup nightmare. They're one of the deepest teams in college basketball. I think when Auburn, if Janai Broome, and that is a huge thing to keep an eye on, if he is back healthy at some point with a scary ankle injury, Auburn and Florida are the top two teams if you want to whittle it down a little bit further. But I think those top five are a step ahead of the rest of the league, which is really, really good.
Yeah, I agree with 100% what you just said. What is the status? What have you heard about Janai Broome? I know nothing's broken. I think he had an MRI, but is it day-to-day? They're going to give him a couple of weeks off? What are you hearing?
They haven't said a whole lot. I mean, they were all waiting on that MRI, and as you mentioned, it was negative. So that's the first, okay, we avoided done for the year, at least in theory. But looking at that injury, and everybody heals differently, I don't see him being bad. Day-to-day to me would be very optimistic. I would think he's going to miss some games, and they're going to have to tread water without him. Now, look, speaking of depth, Auburn's a pretty damn deep team. But Janai Broome was playing like the best player in college basketball. So there's no question it's a loss, but it's a loss that they can survive much more than most teams can. So we're all just kind of waiting to see. And then the question becomes, well, how effective is he when he does come back? I mean, is he able to – he's not the most athletic big to begin with. He's not a guy who's a high-rising, just athletic freak. He really beats people more on skill than he does pure explosiveness and athleticism. But obviously, it's going to take a little bit for him to be back 100%.
Florida Cracker is the brand for original Floridians, great food and Southern hospitality in the center of the universe, Brooksville, Florida, FloridaCracker.com. All right, Mike, you're on the call tonight with Pat Bradley. What can you tell us briefly what Florida needs to do against this Missouri Tiger team? What does Missouri do well?
Well, I just had Missouri a couple days ago, and they defeated Vanderbilt. It's a typical, if you remember Coach Gates' first team, they won games and they made it to the tournament off their defense. They're really aggressive defensively. So we were talking about turnovers and talking about Walter Clayton. This will be a great test for Walter Clayton because they are going to get up in his grill and they are going to go for steals. They're one of the top teams in the country in steals, and they are going to try to turn you over and get easy buckets off of that. That's when they're at their best. If you don't do that, if you get back on defense and there's no live ball turnovers and they have to come up with a play on offense, that's sometimes where they struggle. Tamar Bates is their top scorer. You remember him from last year, number 2. He's one of the better scorers in the league. But they really feed off their defense. They're an improved team. They got a big-time transfer from Duke. They got a couple other transfers that are kind of leading the way. But Tamar Bates is the guy, if they're going to pull off the upset tonight at the O-Dome. He's got to go for at least 20, 25 in my estimation.
You're going to walk to the shoot-around today?
I'll go to the shoot-around. Florida's got one at 4 o'clock. First time I've had the Gators since December, I believe. I've got them again next week against South Carolina. And then I'll have the Florida-Georgia game at the end of the month, which right now Mike White's got a tournament team and one of the best freshmen in the country. They're looking like a stellar unit. So I'll be in Gainesville quite a bit, which I certainly enjoy, and I'll get a chance to call this team, which I think is a treat to watch. And even watching a Todd Golden practice or shoot around, they're a well-oiled machine. They really are. And what they do with spacing and tempo, it's a system that their players have bought into. And again, I can't say enough about what they've been able to do in order to turn this thing into a well-oiled machine without the benefit of a bunch of high draft picks. It's really good college players that know how to play the game and know how to play in his system.
Are you going to take your shoes and lace them up and get some shots in the O'Connell Center today?
I usually do, Shane. You know that this takes me back. I've got my University of Florida intramural champion T-shirt and 3-point champion T-shirt ready to go on the ready for a good pickup game if one breaks out. But no, I love getting a few shots up at the old O-Dome. It doesn't smell like chlorine like it did when I played back in the day, but I think they've done a great job with that building, and I'm hoping. I know 9 o'clock is tough for a lot of people. I know 9 o'clock on a Tuesday. It's a TV window, and they do the calculus on that, and it'll have some good ratings on ESPNU tonight. But when that crowd is into it, it's really one of the better ones in the SEC. So I hope he gets a good building tonight.
Yeah, should be a good night for sure. Mike, let everybody know how they can follow you on Twitter and also listen to your podcast.
Yeah, at Morgan on Air on Twitter, X, for the Instagram folks, at Morgan on Air 22, because some guy in LA who throws T-shirts into the crowd at Dodgers games took Morgan on Air on Instagram. So, unfortunately, he just will not give it up. We're negotiating. My people are talking to his people. And then the podcast, and we have some Florida fans that listen to it each and every week. JC and Morgan. JC is a guy that's covered the sport for years on a national level as well as I am. We just chop it up every week, just talk about anything that's going on in college football. And the beauty of it is, as you know, Shane, there's no more off season. I mean, with free agency and recruiting and the portal, and I mean, there's always something going on in college football. So can't get enough discussing it, and we love to do it each and every week.
Yeah, well, have a great call. Tony on Facebook Live, brought to you by Mellon Law, wants us to play 21 one day. So maybe we could bring all the listeners, have a pay-per-view event. Mike Morgan.
Oh, I like it.
In the O'Connell Center, 21. That'd be fun.
Hey, I took down Doring and Judd Davis in a game of horse at Doring's house, his home court advantage. So I'm ready, man. I'm ready to go. I can't compete with you in golf. God knows that. But shooting the rock, I'm okay.
Good, buddy. We'll talk to you next week. Have a good call.
Always enjoy it, Shane. Thank you.
Yeah, that's Mike Morgan from the SEC Network joining us on the Titan Moore Hotline, courtesy of Comfort Temp. Florida Victorious, proud NIL partner of the Florida Gators, joined today to help make Florida victorious. We'll recap the game tomorrow with JC. Have a great day, folks. Take care.